Hi, and welcome to episode number 12 of the Fit for Any Battle podcast, coming to you from the Moody Center here in downtown Austin. For those of you that were in for South by Southwest the last couple weeks, I'm sure some of you went over by the Willie statue to see some amazing shows. Let's jump right in, and I wanted to talk to you today about a couple of the medications that I'm taking for aggressive prostate cancer. The first one is Taxotere. I've been talking about this. That's the chemotherapy that I receive once every 3 weeks. And the Taxotere has some interesting side effects. The latest side effect that I've been seeing is a light twitch on my eyebrows and eyelids. The twitch is really kind of wild because it creates kind of a cover over my eyes when it twitches. So like if I'm just sitting there looking at something, it'll kind of obscure my vision a little bit. After some research, it turns out that one of the issues that Taxotere causes is some neuropathy around the eye. Now, this twitching and that sensation that I'm having is something that will go away. It's not a permanent thing, just like my hair loss on my beard is not permanent. Now let's talk about the hair loss. I have been losing more hair lately. As I brush through in the mornings, a little bit is coming out. I am past 4 chemo treatments out of 6, so we only have 2 more to go, and then things will quiet down. The hair will come back. The twitching will go away. And because I'll be getting off of the abiraterone acetate, I'm hoping that I can also get off the prednisone, because the prednisone is creating additional little challenges keeping my weight off. I've been biking a bunch lately, and I noticed that the prednisone is creating that ferocious appetite I've talked about. And so I still have a few pounds that I put on. Because of the additional weight that I put on with the prednisone, I started snoring recently. And so I was waking up with a dry mouth and a dry tongue. That's an indication that we are not sleeping well at night. And so in listening to Andrew Huberman on the Huberman Lab podcast, which is something that I would recommend everybody take a look at, Andrew recommends using medical tape to tape the mouth shut, because even if we have a deviated septum, and most of the time, just like me, I thought I had a deviated septum. Turns out that it's the fluid in our head that moves around throughout the day and into the evening that causes one nasal pathway to be open while the other one is occluded. So I have been taping my mouth shut to work on my sleep, and it turns out I'm getting great sleep. I'm sleeping a ton thanks to taping my mouth shut. I haven't had a problem waking up in the middle of the night, not being able to breathe. It is something that I highly recommend. Before you look at any additional sleep studies or other things, try taping your mouth shut. Now, coming up next, we're going to talk about some of the other side effects from Taxotere, so stay tuned. The sponsor for today's Fit for Any Battle podcast is Update Everyone. Going through cancer treatment has been really tough. Keeping everybody in my support group updated has all of its own challenges. With Update Everyone, they assign me a telephone number, and I send a simple text message to that phone number with an update on how things are going. They then send it to every single person in my support group without me having to do a thing. No more Twitter messages, no more Instagram messages, no more Facebook messages, no more Facebook posts, not even a simple SMS to every single person on my support group. So with Update Everyone, I send one message and I get back to healing. You can too. Go to updateeveryone.com. Welcome back, and thanks to that sponsor for sponsoring today's episode. If you'd like to do your part, please like, subscribe, share the podcast with your friends, your family, and those that might be going through aggressive prostate cancer themselves. the goal here is to have this podcast leave that indelible mark for others to follow so they don't have to go through the same black box of healthcare that is oncology. All right, so let's go back to our Taxotere. It is a chemotherapy treatment. As I said, I get it every 3 weeks. And what we've noticed is, and I think I talked about this a little bit in the last podcast, is that my iron levels have been going down. It's been pretty consistent, just a small little drip. But now we've gotten to the point where the anemia that I'm facing is causing a little bit of fatigue. So along with mouth taping, and I'm getting great sleep at night, I'm noticing that I'm having to take a nap every once in a while in the afternoon. This is to be expected. As I talked about last time, the folks at Tex Oncology recommended a slow release iron to help with that anemia. This one happens to be 45 milligrams per dose. And along with that, I take a daily Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens is obviously working really well with my green background here, and it has a lot of the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that our bodies need, that if we're not getting it from fruits and vegetables and getting enough of that, Athletic Greens can really help. Not a sponsor of our podcast. I'm not getting any money from Athletic Greens to talk about them, but it is something that I use daily, and I'd encourage you to do so too. The Athletic Greens comes from New Zealand, so hopefully some of the great nutrition that's found in New Zealand finds its way to you as well. So the exercise that I do, in fact, last night was Saturday night, the last night of South by Southwest 2023. Went on a 12-mile bike ride, felt great. The night before, Friday night, went on a 15-mile bike ride, felt amazing. I would encourage you to look at ways that you can get out and exercise to help with that wave of yuck that comes on shore, and we can push it offshore with exercise, whether that's a morning walk, a morning run, an afternoon bike ride, an afternoon of hiking in the Big Bend National Park, whatever you've got. I would encourage you to get out and exercise. It's the easiest way to get rid of that yuck that comes with chemotherapy treatment. Now, let's talk about some of the aspects of going through this health journey that we may not have thought about before. When you go and meet with your doctor, they are limited on what information they can share with the general public, with your friends, with your family, because they are required to adhere to something called HIPAA, the Health Information Portability, and I forget what the other P is, Act. HIPAA is a way for us to protect our health information when it's coming from the medical care providers. However, here's the secret. You've known that I have been sharing my battle prostate cancer with you every week on YouTube. There is nothing preventing me from doing so. I can talk about every test I was given, every result that came from that test, every procedure, every appointment, anything and everything that's talked about in the doctor's office, I can share. And you can too. Most of the time, what I've found is people that are going through really difficult health journeys tend to just hold it close to vest pocket. They don't tell many people, they hold it internally, and as such, it comes with it a lot of stress. By sharing our health journey with others, we encourage them to join our support group. And having a really well-organized support group is one of these things that is just a benefit. It is that frosting on top of the cake that makes life easier as we go through these health journeys. Now, I've talked about, and you've seen the ads for Update Everyone. I keep all of my support group updated with Update Everyone. So I'll send a text message to it. I'll even link to the podcast if people want the full version of what happened. And it keeps about 75 people that are in my support group right now fully up to date. And if I have a request to them, I'll just send a question, and then I can go onto the updateeveryone.com website and see what they say. So I would encourage you to build a really well-organized support group. If you're feeling down and you need people to come and take you to do activities, maybe you want some people to come over and go for a walk in the morning, or go a stroll around the lake in the evening. as long as you watch out for people with machetes, that is. Having that support group also means that they can bring you food when you're not feeling up to cooking and you don't have anything in the fridge. Having those folks that are able to help come in, whether it's if you have kids, coming in and watching the kids for a little while you can get to the gym, whatever it takes. The goal here is to put our heads down and run as fast and as far as we can so that the chemotherapy treatments just fly by. I can't tell you how often I forget that I'm going through chemotherapy. I run into people and they see that I have a very thin beard. I have very thin hair on my head now, and they just expect it's part of getting old. They don't realize that I'm going through aggressive prostate cancer and significant treatment, 6 chemotherapy treatments followed by 2 months of daily radiation treatment. That is a lot to get through. And yet, when I'm at work, when I'm playing with friends, I'm out playing with the kids, I don't notice it. And it's that exercise that'll really help. So make sure that you have a great support group, get plenty of exercise, add any vitamins and minerals that might be deficient as your body is stripped of these things. One of the other things that I am taking, not a sponsor, but I'm super impressed with it. I take 2 Citracal every day, and that's helping my bones with calcium. Because one of the things that Taxotere does is it pulls the calcium out of our bones and makes them a little more brittle and fragile. And so we need to up that. If I showed you all of the bottles of pills, supplements, and therapies that I'm taking, you'd probably flip out. There's about 15 bottles that I have to take at various times during the day. And once again, this is a program. It has a start and it has an end. So I am focused on this daily regimen. And then as I get past chemotherapy, I'll be able to turn down some of those treatments. And then as I get through the radiation therapy, I'll be able to turn down additional ones. And then after a few months, the chemotherapy will have run its course and my bones will start producing more calcium. They'll produce more white blood cells. My anemia will go away and my iron count in my blood will go up. And I'll have less time spent napping and trying to find that additional sleep due to the fatigue. All right. So next week is next week another off week. So we will have one more off week, and then I go in for my 5th chemotherapy treatment, and that will leave just 1 left to go. I'm feeling great. I know you can too. Thanks for joining us today, and I'll see you soon.